All right, so we've got some states out there who are effectively trying to ban 3D printed guns. A 3D printed gun is a gun you can make at home using a 3D printer. And there's this whole legal argument going on over whether the documents, the blueprints, if you will, for these guns should be legally available to everybody. But let me ask you this. If every American has the right to bear arms, then why should they be prevented from making their own firearms, especially when you've got these nosy, out-of-control politicians trying to ban their sale? It is a hedge against tyranny. Plus, how does the government even plan on banning these? Are they going to, ban 3D printers? Ban the blueprint? They've actually already tried, but you cannot ban information from being shared on the internet. The genie's already out of the bottle on this one, and that is a good thing for Second Amendment rights. All right, that gun is the Liberator. It is a single-shot pistol made entirely of plastic from a 3D printer. And because of a recent legal settlement, if you own a 3D printer, you can pretty much own that gun that you just saw. All you need is the CAD, the computer-aided design, aka the blueprint, that tells the printer what to do, which is now legally available online, and then you can hit print and own a gun. It's pretty remarkable. But I'm not sure if any of the politicians who are fighting this know, but it is actually already legal to build your own gun. So I'm really not sure why printing it is any different. Anyone can build their own AR-15. You just get an incomplete lower receiver delivered to your front door without a background check. Then you just mill the inside out of it, drill some holes through it, add on lower parts kit, stock and upper, and boom, you have an AR-15. And they actually started doing this with Glocks as well. You can go online, you can get a kit legally delivered to you that includes all the pieces you need to build a Glock, including the frame, the upper slide, the lower parts, and then they even give you a case. You can walk home with a case. Guess the guys who are losing their minds were too lazy to do some basic research. Now, of course, the libs are freaking out over this. We can't have 3D printed guns. Now everyone is going to have a gun. Oh, you mean like the founders intended it? Quote, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It's pretty clear to me. If you are a person, the framers were clear you had the right to keep and bear arms. And if the busybody politicians want to legislate against the will of the United States Constitution, then we, the people, may just have to resort to other means. Now, a little backstory here. Back in 2013, this guy named Cody Wilson posted the CAD for the Liberator online. And Obama's State Department told his group, Defense Distributed, you are violating international traffic in arms regulations and you need to take the plans down immediately. Now, mind you, the plans had already been downloaded over 100,000 times. So Wilson complied, but then he sued the feds in 2015. They reached a settlement that said Wilson and Defense Distributed could publish plans, files, and 3D printer plans, which is a really big victory for Second Amendment's rights. So that's presumably why Cody Wilson tweeted a picture of the grave of American gun control, said, join me at defensedistributed.org. Now, all of this, of course, caused politicians to freak out.
Now we have to worry about 3D printing hard plastic guns.
Now, reflexively, anytime Bill Nelson says anything, I automatically think the exact opposite must be true. But other politicians were outraged too.
These ghost guns are the new wave of American gun violence.
And 21 state attorneys general sent a letter to the Trump administration, to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Attorney General Jeff Sessions, urging the government to withdraw from the settlement. But would making the CAD, the design for a 3D printed gun, illegal really solve or even help the issue of gun violence? Because remember, 80% of firearms, this is from Gun Owners of America, 80% of firearms used in crimes are weapons that weren't owned legally. And studies show that criminals have already been making their own illegal weapons or getting illegally made firearms from overseas. The gun-grabbing politicians fail to note that guns are used 16 to 100 times more often to save lives. So if anything, democratizing the manufacturing of guns to the people could lead to saving more lives than taking them. Now, President Trump himself tweeted, I am looking into 3D plastic guns being sold to the public. Already spoke to the NRA, doesn't seem to make much sense. Now, we don't know what the NRA actually said to Trump, but Trump should talk to the gun owners of America too, because this isn't about gun sales. This is about what tools do the American people have for whatever reason gun sales are no longer an option for us. Because don't think we're not headed in that direction. A majority of Democrats want to ban semi-automatics, and half of them want to ban all guns. The politicians, of course, they just call it common sense.
We're calling on the leadership of the House to bring common sense gun control legislation to the House floor.
But as the numbers we just showed you show, what's common on the left is a ban. So what does one do? Well, there is the 3D printed gun. It grants us, we the people, another check on government to ensure that our God-given right to be free still exists and does not get taken away by politicians. And now that we have this, no matter what the government does, it's not going to stop. It's over for the gun grabbers. It is done. Even if stores were to suddenly outlaw gun stores, if you have a 3D printer and you got the instructions, you got the CAD, there's not much the government can do, if anything. Now, maybe they can require you to register it, which I think would be palatable for most Americans, but you are not going to legislate them out of existence. Now, to be quite honest, this gun is kind of a barely functioning piece of crap at the moment, because no one's going to rely on this Liberator as their daily, everyday firearm. But as the technology advances, they will get better, and more blueprints for more devices will be available. For instance, they already have magazines for when politicians start to say, and you know they will, we don't want to ban your guns, we just want to limit the amount of bullets you can shoot. And then more 3D printers will be available to more people as the technology gets cheaper and more accessible. Now, right now, not everyone has a 3D printer, obviously, but envisioning a future where they do is not out of the question. I really just don't see how the government stops this without a massive ban on the flow of information. They would literally have to go full on Big Brother on internet monitoring. You might actually get an FBI guy assigned to watch you at all times on the internet. Can you imagine a world where you're going to need permission from the government to print something? The technology is already there, and the government, they cannot limit conversations about how we use technology. Gun Owners of America released a statement that correctly said, our rights do not depend on what criminals do. For example, we do not shut down printing presses because someone might use it to libel. And they are absolutely right about that. The only way to get rid of 3D printed guns would be to crack down on free speech. And that is something that should concern everyone, including those on the left.